You're watching Fayette County Schools Television, Channel 13 in Lexington.
Welcome back to the second half of tonight's football game. Lafayette on top 3-0. Lafayette set to kick off to start the second half. Stan, looking at the unofficial statistics, Lafayette rolled up approximately 113 yards total offense to Bryan Station's 22. Unofficially, Lafayette had about 7 first downs to Bryan Station's 1. So the offensive stats tell the story as the second half is underway. Returning it for Bryan Station is number 30, Stan. Can you pick up his number there? Number 30 is Gerald Alford.
Gerald Alford, Dick. And Bryan Station has to get Dishman into the football game, Dick, as he saw very little action. And I tell you what, Bryan Station must get this football more. Lafayette controlled the first half with a good ground attack. So we'll see if Bryan Station can maybe open it up a bit and see how they come out in the second half.
Stan, it's nice to see Gerald Alford returning kicks. People were at the Bryan Station Somerset game a few weeks ago. He took a very hard hit, was carried off on a stretcher, and it's nice to see Gerald back in action for the defenders.
He's a good athlete, Dick.
This is Dishman. He's met by McCarty and stopped by McCarty. And there is a flag on the play. It may be holding Lafayette, or excuse me, holding Bryan Station, as Dishman was going nowhere. Let's see what the call is. Face mask against Lafayette, so add 15 additional yards. And a break right off the bat for Bryan Station. Not many penalties called in the first half, Stan. It was a pretty clean game. And William Dishman, you mentioned, 5 carries, 19 yards. Well below his 100-yard pace that he's keeping for the year. Coming into the game, tonight's game, he carried it 106 times for 639 yards. The ball is now out to the 35-yard line of Bryan Station. Hand off to Dishman. No, fake to Dishman. Jenkins keeps it. Run down by 59 Jeff Waters, 73 Jamie McCarty, and 58 Andy Bischoff, all in on the hit for Lafayette. Picked up a few yards on the play. That's Don Jenkins.
Well, this Lafayette defense, Dick, is really sticky tonight. I mean, they're giving them absolutely nothing on the ground very much. Well, they did get a nice little gain, 3 yards on that one. But they're tough now. They're playing great defense. They bounce into that 6-man line this time.
Jenkins with the ball once again, faking into the middle of the line, brought down by number 59, Jeff Waters. A pickup of a yard or 2 on the play. I compiled the first half stats. They are unofficial. Stan Levitt will take over for the second half. And Stan, you think you're going to be able to make it over there? What do you think there?
Well, we'll hang in there, Dick, and see what happens here. As I tell you what, we don't have a whole lot of statistics. It's really a ground game. It's a defensive struggle, and 3-0. Bryan Station, 3rd down, 6.
3rd down, 6 yards to go at their own 35-yard or their own 40-yard line. Oh, there's Tony Harden. He's met by the Lafayette defensive people on a little reverse play from the slot back position and went nowhere, Stan. Is it like number 82, David Borosic was there from his defensive end position.
And Jamie McCarty also in on that trap, Dick, as boy, Lafayette stayed home. That's supposed to maybe make a little running room there with that little trap play, but I tell you what, Lafayette read it very well, and now Bryan Station faced with a 4th down and 5 yards to go, and they're going to turn it back over to this ground machine of Lafayette.
Don Jenkins back in punt formation, standing at his own 25-yard line. Back to receive the punt for Lafayette is Matt Gay and Vic Johnson. This is Johnson. Makes a couple of moves, and he's brought down by a host of defenders. Lafayette will start their first offensive drive of the second half at about the 38-yard line.
Now, number 59, Chris Haller, goes in on the stop there, among others for Bryan Station. They cover the punt very well, and so it's again a defensive struggle as Lafayette tries to take the football and march in.
Stand Antoine George was a workhorse the first half for the Generals, carrying 13 times for 42 yards, the leading ground gainer in the game. Look for George's number to be caught a lot in the second half as well. Lafayette, quick handoff to Thomas Coates, picked up 3 or 4 yards. Brought down by number 79, Kenny Gibbons. But he picked up 3 yards on the play. Thomas Coates got it. Lafayette was moving for their 3 points, and as we saw in the Taste Creek game, Stan, he gets in the open field. He's tough to bring down. He's a good runner.
They used 3 good fullbacks there with Coates and Brown and Lunsford in the first half, keeping those kids fresh.
Here's a handoff to Vic Johnson. He squirms through, slides off for 3 more yards on the play. Vic Johnson carried a couple of times in the first half. Lafayette has a slew of offensive performers in that backfield. They throw Lunsford, Coates at you, George, Vic Johnson, even Jerome Brown staying. They just have 4 or 5 very talented backs that can just wear down a defense, and that's what they're doing in this ball game.
Run very hard.
3rd and 6, Lafayette after a pickup of only a yard by Johnson. Look for a passing down on this play. Oh, Craig Brooks reading it out. Craig Brooks only a sophomore. Matt Gay didn't have time to do anything with the football, and Lafayette will be forced to punt. Craig Brooks only a sophomore, Stan, and he is a talented athlete, basketball, football, and the fans can expect to see a lot of Craig Brooks in the coming years.
We watched him in junior high, and you're right, he does a great job, as we watched him over at Winburn play several years, and he's a quality athlete. Well, neither team can move it on offense, so defense is taking sway of the football game right now.
Bruce Wise in punt formation. It's a short punt, end over end. Briscoe calling for a fair catch, and that's where Lafayette Bryan Station will start at their own 37-yard line. Good field position once again for the defenders. But it's been very tough going against this stingy Lafayette defense. So Bryan Station will come out with William Dishman, the lone back in the backfield. This is Dishman, and he's fighting and scrapping for about 3 on the play.
Andy Bischoff, one of the tacklers for Lafayette, he thought he might have fumbled, but Bischoff, they blew the play dead. He picked up about 3 yards.
They give him 2, Stan, make it 2nd down and 8, 6 minutes, 45 seconds to play 3rd quarter. Lafayette on top, 3-0 here at Ishmael Stadium.
Well, I think Bryan Station's going to have to open up a bit, Dick, because maybe get one-on-one against Lafayette's defense.
Tim Dunn in motion, pitch back to William Dishman, going the left side.
Oh, what a tackle by Lafayette. They pursued that very well.
Picked up 3. Make it 3rd down, about 4 yards to go.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim Meese and along with Jeff Waters played that one very well and knocked it down, and so it's going to be 3rd and Bryan Station faced with a big 3rd down play now.
3rd down and 6. William Dishman's longest run of the night, Stan, has been 9 yards. He was held to 43 last week against Laurel County.
Well, they've held him in check. Boy, he did a number against Henry Clay a couple of weeks ago.
Don Jenkins back to pass. It's picked off by Coates. Thomas Coates with a great interception brings it back to the 30-yard line of Bryan Station, and Lafayette with their interception. Thomas Coates, Bryan Station's 2nd turnover of the night, and Lafayette now with outstanding field position to stand as Thomas Coates, offensively and defensively. A great interception there.
Well, we saw him against Tates Creek, Dick, and he did the job. He picked up the fumble against Tates Creek, and he rambled down the 2nd half against the Creek, and so that set Lafayette up in business against Tates Creek.
Matt Gay running behind Coates, and George, he fumbles the football.
I think Bryan Station got it, Dick, as looked like Dishman came up and got it.
Football fumble, Lafayette, as the team's exchanging turnovers, reminiscent of the first half, early moments of the first half. But Matt Gay was stripped of the football. I did not say who stripped him, but he lost it. Bryan Station gets the football back.
So again, it's a game as the first half was. The second half is indicative of the first half, a game of turnovers so far, and fine, sterling defensive play by both clubs.
3rd turnover by Lafayette. Bryan Station once again, 5:25 to go, 3rd quarter. To Dishman up the middle. Dishman finding it tough going. Jeff Waters getting off the bottom of the stack along with Coates. And a host of other generals picked up a couple of yards. Giving 3, 2nd and 7 Lafayette. Or excuse me, 2nd and 7 Bryan Station.
Jim Meese also in on that one, Dick. 5 minutes left to go, third quarter. 3-0 in favor of Lafayette.
William Dishman. Fake, give it to Tim Dunn going the other way. And Dunn picks up 3 or 4 yards. Good call by Bryan Station, faking Dishman up the middle and giving it to Tim Dunn from his slot position on the right side. Dunn picks up fairly good yardage.
And that linebacker, Mark Lunsford, comes over and knocks him down. Lunsford, 6 foot, 185-pound senior, does the job there. Plays both ways for Bryan Station. 3rd down, 1.
Give him 6, and that's Tim Dunn's first carry of the ball game. 3rd down and 1, a big down for the Bryan Station offense. Don Jenkins keeping it, and it's going to be close.
I believe he got it, Dick, but he just barely got it.
Once again, faking it to Dishman up the middle.
Looked like Jeff Waters played that one very well on that defensive end spot for Lafayette and knocking him down.
First down, Bryan Station. Jeff Waters playing a good game tonight, Stan.
He's a fine defensive end. He and Borosic on the other side, Dick. And boy, they got up the middle there with Jamie McCarty, Andy Bischoff, and Jim Meese. And those linebackers with Lunsford along with Coates, among others, do an excellent job.
Jenkins back to pass across the middle. Is picked off once again by Thomas Coates. And the second interception of the night for Coates. Don Jenkins underthrowing his receiver. And Lafayette gets the football once again in Bryan Station territory as Thomas Coates, an All-City Performer of a year ago and almost a sure repeat this year. Stan picking off the second of the game.
Thomas Coates, a very alert football player, as he looked like he was in a zone defense, anticipated the pass, just a bit underthrown though, and so like you said, Lafayette in business on their 40, on Bryan Station's 42-yard line.
Jerome Brown in the ball game, replacing Coates at the left halfback position. They give it to Antoine George.
They fake for the first man through.
Antoine George picking up a few yards on the play. Give him 2, 2nd down and 8 with less than 3 minutes to play in the third quarter.
Good little trap play. They faked inside and gave it to George, and he rambled for a couple of yards. 2nd down, 8 yards.
Lafayette in the I formation this time. Looked like Jerome Brown. Fighting, scrapping for good yardage. Jerome Brown getting down to the 35-yard line. Good pickup by Jerome Brown, Stan.
Well, Brown ran hard, Dick, in the first half, a couple of series. They stuck him in there, and he picked up good yardage.
Getting it down to the 35. 3rd down and 4 for Lafayette.
In fact, Brown had 13 yards the first half. Picked up 3 on that one. That'll make him about 16 yards for the football game.
All right, 3rd and 4, Lafayette. Matt Gay back to pass. And that's almost picked off. Looking for Marcus Hill as intended receiver. Don Jenkins was there, almost picked it off. And that will bring up a 4th and 4 situation for Lafayette. Will they call on Bruce Wise?
Well, I believe he's out of field goal range at this point, but we'll see as they're going to, with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left to go in the third quarter.
Bruce Wise is on the sideline, Stan, so they're going to go for it on 4th and 4.
That's right. We'll try to pick it up.
4th and 4, Lafayette Generals going for it. And a timeout by Matt Gay. Timeout Lafayette, I believe, Stan. They may have been trying to lure Bryan Station off sides. They didn't do it. Alertly, Gay called timeout, and in comes Bruce Wise.
I think you're right, partner. I think you called that one very well, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. But Bryan Station stayed home and didn't give him the first down.
Stan, this is a fine time to bring up We will be televising the junior high football championship game the first week of November. We encourage the viewers to view that when it comes. They play the championship game the first week of November, the first Thursday in November. And Stan, it looks like right now 3 outstanding ball clubs are at the head of the pack. Tates Creek Titans at 3-0, the Winburn Warriors at 3-0, and the Leestown Chargers at 3-0. Tates Creek has looked unbeatable, Stan, in their first just looked awesome in their first 3 games, racking up wins by the scores of 28-0, 30-0, and 38-0. Leestown, on the other hand, Stan, has looked just as impressive, rolling up big scores.
That's true, Dick, and we want to encourage all of our fans to not only view our game, the championship game, but won't you go out and take in some of these junior high games? They're played on Thursday afternoons at the various junior high locations, and I'm sure they would like your support, so we encourage you to go see one.
That's right. Good point, Stan. Echo, this is Bruce Wise, nearly blocked by Craig Brooks. And the punt goes into the end zone. Craig Brooks, great effort. And Bryan Station will start once again on the 20-yard line. Less than 2 minutes to play in this third quarter. Bryan Station's had the ball. I believe this is their 3rd time, and I don't believe it picked up a first down, earning it. They got one by a face masking penalty, but it's just been tough.
Thomas Coates blocked very well on that as he blocked Brooks, enabling Wise to get the football off. As again, Thomas Coates is a very alert football player. He's lined up left linebacker.
Okay, here comes Bryan Station, the power T. William Dishman picking up good yardage, about 4 on the play, running over the right side of the Bryan Station offensive line. Picked up 4, 2nd and 6 for Bryan Station. So it's been tough going. And Stan, that 3-0 score, the way things are going, could be a very important 3 points in this game because these defenses are just tough. Bryan Station's defense has really played well the second half.
That score looks very big right now.
This is Andre White. He's hit a couple of times, bounces off, still on his feet, gets out to about the 30-yard line, where it's going to be a Bryan Station first down. Good hard running by Andre White.
Good balance by White as he should have been nailed at the line of scrimmage, but wasn't. 3rd down, they're right at the first down marker. I'm not sure he crossed the plane. I believe they're going to call him a bit shy, Dick.
I believe you're right. They mark it at the 29, 3rd down 1, Bryan Station. Here in the third quarter with Lafayette leading 3-0. Once again, another big 3rd and 1. Bryan Station is faced with.
Deep inside their territory, cannot afford a mistake right now.
They give it to Tim Dunn, and he crosses the 30, and Bryan Station has their first down. 30 seconds to go, third quarter. The clock is stopped. It is a first down. I believe they may have time for one more offensive play before this third quarter is over. Briscoe checking into the game, placing Antoine Brown, number 38, for Bryan Station. Darwin Briscoe, he was a doubtful starter for tonight's game as he was coming in with an injury. So here we go, the last play of the third quarter for Bryan Station. Dishman in motion. Jenkins rolling out. He's got some blockers. Picks up only 2 on the play before he's brought down by Mark Lunsford. And that will be the last play of the third quarter. So the score after 3. The Lafayette Generals 3, the Bryan Station Defenders nothing.
This is a message for the 17,000 Fayette County adults who read poorly or those who have no high school diploma. We know it's tough.